ongoing saga of beta male versus alpha males. I recognize that and I'm labeling myself here, I am an emotionally intelligent beta male. And therefore my perception of alpha males is not a positive one. And this video is me sorting that out and us carrying on this conversation. So in a previous video, I had talked about how I don't envy alpha males. I, in my mind, do not want to be like an alpha male if an alpha male is what we perceive it to be. This guy who is just so physically strong and intimidating, he charges through, he gets his way, and people just do whatever he says because he's the boss. In my mind, that's so outdated and irrelevant. And what I say is, it's better to be an emotionally intelligent beta, because a beta male, something they're strong at, is communicating and collaborating with people, knowing other people's psychology to know, okay, what motivates that person? What causes fear and anxiety in that person? How can I work with these people so that not only I'm successful, but they are too? To me, that's being a beta. It's not about having to have your way all the time. It's about compromising often so that ultimately everybody gets what they would need and you're more successful that way. I am an emotionally intelligent beta male. So therefore, when I think of the concept of alpha male, I think of this guy who doesn't have that emotional intelligence. I think of a guy who, if he doesn't get his way, he's just going to get angry, and ultimately he just seems like a petty little crybaby. But see, this is coming from a beta male, so of course I'm going to say that. Here's ultimately what inspired this video. My wife and I have about a week left of Amazon Prime that we're doing the free trial. And so I was catching up on Brian Posehn. He's by default one of my favorite comedians. I've liked him since 2005 when I saw him in the Comedians of Comedy. That's when I first was introduced to him. But he has this special called 25 times 2, because at the time, a couple years ago when he filmed it, he was 50. And he talks about this. It starts off with him talking about Kid Rock and how Kid Rock was on Sirius XM or Howard Stern show, talking about how there's certain words now that are so PC you can't say them anymore. I'm going to say a censored version of them, and I'm going to let you figure out what he was really saying. Rednecks and fairies. He didn't use those words, but the redneck word is a word to describe someone who is not intelligent, and the fairy version is a word to describe a man who is not masculine. So you can imagine one word starts with an R and it means you're not intelligent at all, or you don't have much capacity to think for yourself, or your IQ is very low, etc. That starts with an R. The word that starts with an F is the word that would describe someone who's not masculine. So he was saying, ultimately, he was comparing it to politics in America, that when you look at liberals, they look at Republicans as rednecks, and then the conservatives look at the Democrats, liberals, as fairies. And he says that's how people size each other up, and they demonize the other side, and they label each other that other thing. And I think on a similar note, that's what happens for me as a beta male. When I think of the concept of alpha male, I automatically think of someone who's not emotionally intelligent, and I think of someone who falls in the redneck category, and maybe they would see me in the fairy category. But I think that's my perception. That's where I'm at. This is me being real. We all have growth. We all have places we need to get to. But I think what happens is when we learn to identify where we are, that it comes to, well, then you understand yourself better, but you understand the other side better. Now, what I would like is to understand the other side better. Here's what I would like. I would like some examples of an emotionally intelligent alpha male. One name comes to mind, actually. So I'll get this conversation started. Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. When you look at him in all the Iron Man movies and all of the Avenger movies, all the Marvel movies, his character seems to truly be an alpha male, but who's very emotionally intelligent. I can't think of anybody else. Now, what's interesting too, though, I will say that I've actually, when I do watch YouTube videos, I like to study personalities and psychology, and there's one talking about Robert Downey Jr. and how he conducts himself in interviews and how he's basically remains the alpha male that he is. So I think it's very fascinating with him. So even the actual human being, Robert Downey Jr., is that alpha male, as is his character Iron Man. Now, a little bit of trivia, if you want trivia. Robert Downey Jr. and I are the same size, 5'9". Also, my research shows that he's also somewhat of Jewish descent, as I also am too. That's just trivia. That doesn't help the story at all, but just so you know. So, help me out. Who are some other emotionally intelligent alpha males? Because I struggle to think of them. Instead, I think, in my mind, beta males are what we should aspire to be, because we're more overall successful and we understand ourselves and others better, because by default our higher level of emotional intelligence matters a whole lot more than being this take charge guy, this alpha male. So help me sort that out. Let's explore this. This is very important. And not to mention, it gives me a break from having to talk about that thing I always have to talk about on this channel. I just want to be freed from my genie bottle that I'm in, that I'm not reduced to that one thing. So yeah, give me some examples right here.